Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's nice to see everybody. Nice to see familiar faces and new faces. So for those who don't know me, my name is Laura Reninkowski, and I'm an international astrological life and relationship coach. Because even though I'm not an astrologer, but I know a lot about astrology, and I use astrology a lot, in my coaching and in my personal life as well. And I coach in English, Spanish, Finnish, and Italian. And I love giving these talks. I've given so many of these talks in internations, and yeah, I love I love sharing all this information, and I love inspiring people, and telling them about what's happening, like, astrologically. So today we're talking about the full moon in Capricorn, and the full moon is tomorrow, actually, the 24th of June. But even today, like, even a couple of days before the full moon and a couple of days after the full moon, you still feel the effects of the full moon. So it's actually a perfect day to be talking about the full moon in Capricorn. Okay, so basically, like, the full moon in Capricorn, because we're halfway through the year right now, the full moon in Capricorn is a great time to think of. It's kind of like a check-in with yourself, right? It's like a mid-year check-in. What have you achieved so far this year, and what would you like to achieve, for the rest of the year, right? So that's what this full moon is about, and that's what this full moon asks you for you to think about, right? So, ways to activate your ambitions for 2021's only Capricorn full moon. So this is the only full moon in Capricorn this year. So you have to take advantage of this Capricorn full moon. So the 2021 Capricorn full moon ignites the star sign of long-term goals and lends structure to our ambitions. Ambitions is like, I would say that that's the most important word, for this full moon in Capricorn. Think about what your ambitions are. What are your ambitions? What are your dreams? What, like, have you achieved them? What have you done, to achieve your ambitions and your dreams? And what can you do, to achieve them if you haven't achieved them? Symbolized by the persistent and steady sea goat, this full moon, the only one in Capricorn this year, shines and its inspectors high beams on your life, right? So this is a time for you to step back and really see, like, what have you accomplished so far, and what would you like to accomplish? So while this can be a humbling experience, it's also an illuminating one. You'll see where you cut corners or skipped steps and put the integrity back into your mission. If you got distracted from an important goal, you could snap back to attention. Pick up the ball and run with it again. It's never too late to start over. The Capricorn full moon also falls in June, making it a strawberry moon. So it's a strawberry moon, which I think sounds really nice. So it's a strawberry moon according to the Old Farmer's Almanac. It says each year at this time, flowers turn to fruits and berries burst from the bushes as well. So this full moon in Capricorn is the manifestation of the Capricorn new moon, which took place on January 13th. So think back to what was happening in your life in January, specifically like mid-January. What was happening in your life? And this is also very much connected to relationships. What was happening with your relationships? If you have, you know, like a relationship, like with a significant other, or any kind of other relationship, like in your friendships or your family. What was happening around relationships, and how is it connected to what's happening in your relationships right now? As the fruits of your labor ripen into form, take a moment to celebrate your crop. Then plot out what seeds to plant next. Okay, so these are ways to activate your ambitions at the 2021 Capricorn full moon. So this full moon is all about activating your ambitions, right? This is a very, This is a full moon that's yeah, it asks you, you know, to really think about like your goals and your dreams and what do you want to achieve, right? So design your dreams. So are your goals manifesting in a way that brings you joy, or could they use like some course correction? You know, maybe a peak has turned into a valley or a distracting detour, or maybe you just reached the finish line or are not sure, you know, where to turn next. So it's a good time to pause and like rethink and get yourself back on track. Remember, strong structures begin with a blueprint. If you haven't mapped out, you know, what this lunar lift sends you, it sends you back to your creative drafting board. And then you start by identifying, you know, like ways to mark your progress. And what would the halfway point look like? You know, phase one or the beta phase. You know, the single focus full moon might inspire you to do less, but to give your all to, you know, to one important benchmark that you want to accomplish by the end of 2021. So it's all about checking in, you know, it's the mid-year check-in. You know, what have you achieved so far, and what would you like to achieve the rest of the year? That's like the main theme. After you have the desired endpoint in mind, sketch out a list of actionable items. You know, this is a great idea to do like a list of things to do, right? Or like if you have an ambition, if you have a dream, you know, make a list of things that you need to do to achieve whatever it is, you know, that you want to achieve, right? And like give yourself actionable items, right? And also, you know, don't like also give yourself a deadline. You know, give yourself a deadline. Like I need to do this by the end of this week, or I need to do this by the end of next month, or by the end of the summer, or whatever timing, you know, you give yourself. But it works really well. It works really well like if you give yourself deadlines, you know, when you have an actionable item. If you're serious about developing a venture, you'll probably need support, especially in moments when you hit a roadblock. So tap a wise and experienced person to formally show you the way. One session with a consultant might be all that's needed to get a stuck mission in motion. You know, many times when you have, you know, big dreams and ambitions, you're not always sure like what to do next, and you know what kind of action plan to have. So in moments like that, you know, you can consult, you know, you can consult a coach, or you know, any kind of person, you know, that can help you, you know, that can help you with your dreams and your goals. So watch the clock. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which is Chronos, the god of time. The pandemic threw many schedules for a loop, of course, like all schedules, you know, everybody's schedules got turned upside down in many ways. So it's fair to say that we aren't dominated by timelines in quite the same way that we've been in the past. So simultaneously, the virus has made time feel, you know, more, you know, longer than ever as we confront the specter of mortality as well. Under this full moon, examine your relationship to the clock. Open your calendar and have a look. If you slacked on scheduling, it may be causing you undue stress. So start looking at your commitments, you know, and go back into your daily grid. Set reminder alarms so that you don't have to remember everything, which takes up, you know, a lot of psychic space. You know, when you try to remember everything, it's a good idea to write things down. You know, if you have, you know, if you have an agenda, you can have an electronic agenda, or like, you know, an agenda on paper, whatever, you know, whatever works for you. On the flip side, have you overscheduled yourself with conference calls, family duties, and community action projects? Leave room for spontaneity as well. While it's not as easy as it once was to just drop into farmers markets or happen upon concerts in the park, full moons reveal surprises. So open up space in your life for magic. I mean, you know, this is something that I talk about all the time. Like, be open, like, you know, be open to magic and surprises. Like, life is full of surprises and life is full of magic. So open yourself up, you know, to that magic and those surprises. So change the systems, not the symptoms. They say that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And this is so true. This is so true. And how many times, if you think about it, how many times do we keep on repeating the same actions and we literally expect a different result? I think we've all done it at some point, right? And if you think about it, it's so true. Like if you want to change something in your life, you have to do something differently. If you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, nothing is going to change. You're going to keep on getting the same result, right? So, but sometimes the issue cuts deeper than that. To truly experience change, you have to work beyond the surface or the symptoms. Transforming the system, and with the law of attraction states, the roots create the fruits. I mean, the law of attraction is all about, you attract, the type of energy that you have and that you transmit to the world. That's the type of energy that you're going to attract into your life, right? So if you want to attract, positive people, events, and circumstances, you need to put that positive energy out into the world first, right? Because if you just put, negative energy out into the world, that's the kind of energy that you're going to get back, right? And especially, you have to be kind to yourself and say nice things to yourself, right? So that you can attract nice things into your life. So Capricorn is a zodiac sign that rules structures. And this includes the government and corporations and the economy. So authority figures of all stripes fall under the sea goats domain. So you can see sweeping social reforms underway right now. And this full moon seems perfectly poised, to help like with different like leadership structures. So if you want to make a lasting difference, be tenacious. Research laws and policies, address the city council, set up an appointment with the HR director. Following protocol can be frustrating, but it's part of the slow and steady methodology that a Capricorn field victory requires. So persist in whatever it is that you want to accomplish now. Ground yourself with structure. I think that this is really important, especially with this kind of earth moon. It's all about grounding yourself and landing things in your life and having structure. Structure is really important, because without structure, you really can't land things or manifest things if you don't have structure in your life. So yeah, it may sound like the boring stuff, but remember that without structure, there can't really be any creativity or freedom for the long haul. So it's one of those universal paradoxes, teeth gritting discipline. The Grammy nominated album would never drop, right? Like without structure and without discipline, a Grammy nominated album, wouldn't get created, right? So the best manuscripts with language half finished because you couldn't figure out, how to reschedule like contradiction. So those moments when you feel stuck or need to break things down into action steps through an impasse, that's when Capricorn systematic flow makes all the difference. So, you can open up your calendar app and plug in tasks for the next week or month. Really think about what what can you accomplish? Like what kind of action plans, can you put into place right now? And bite size is still, a good size if it gets you one step closer to your goal every day. If you have a big goal, you can think about what is something that you can do every day to get you closer to your goal, right? Like, because like those little steps, baby steps then create, lead you to bigger steps as well. Let your resistance guide you. This brings us to the next piece of the 2021 Capricorn full moon transformation work. Ask yourself, what am I resisting? What are you resisting right now? Like that's an interesting question to ask yourself right now. So be brave and brutally honest here. And Capricorn is stubborn after all. And it's you can try many times, you can try to deceive other people, but like it's, you know, you can try to deceive yourself, but there's really no point in deceiving yourself. You know, it's better to be honest with yourself, especially about things like this. Like, what are you resisting? You know, many times, you know, patterns from the past can come back. Patterns from the past can come back, and sometimes you think that you've worked on something, and then all of a sudden the same pattern comes back, right? So it just shows, if a pattern from the past comes back, it just shows that you need to do more work on this pattern, right? And to release it, to learn from it, and to release it. So it's the flip side of being tenacious and loyal. You've got to be able to dig, you know, to dig and then stick to a position, which is fine up to a point. There comes a juncture where we become our own worst enemies. And I always say that it's really important to be your own best friend. Don't be your own worst enemy, you know, because so many people are their own worst enemy in terms of, you know, if you look at your self-talk, like, what do you say to yourself? How do you talk to yourself? Is it mostly negative, or is it mostly positive? If it's mostly positive, great. Keep on saying all the wonderful things that you are saying to yourself. But if it's mostly negative, find a way to turn it around, right? Because the way that you talk to yourself is the way that you're saying to the world, like, talk to me like this, treat me like this, right? So that's why it's really, really important for you to be your own best friend, like, always. And many times it's easier said than done. So yeah, so don't be your own worst enemy. And then there can be stubbornness, and there can be self-sabotage as well. Self-sabotage is huge. You know, many times we don't even realize how we're self-sabotaging ourselves. And especially, you know, that comes back to like the self-talk and limiting beliefs and all these different layers, you know, that we have. But instead of seeing resistance as bad, let's view it as energy and acknowledge it. And then there's probably some innate wisdom underneath the surface, right? So you can learn from all of these things, right? And it's all about, life is all about like learning new things, right? Learning new things, and then transforming those things for the better. So as human beings, you know, we are trying to survive and stay safe and avoid pain. So what's the embedded emotion hiding behind the refusal to embrace what's right for you, or to take that next brave step? And I know that many times, you know, it can be scary. It can be scary to take the next brave step. But there's a great saying that says, you know, feel the fear and do it anyway. You know, if you want to do something, there's always risk involved, right? Always. In anything that you do in life, there's risk involved, right? But like anything that's worthwhile and anything big involves risk, you know, and it's just one of those things that you just have to do it. You just have to believe in it, believe in whatever it is, you know, that you want to accomplish, and you believe in yourself, and you take the risk and you go for it. And then you see, you know, and then you see how it goes, you know. And then of course, you know, it's good to be flexible as well, you know, when you're doing big things. But yeah, taking the next brave step, you know, and many times, like, the hardest thing many times can be to take that first step, right? To start something. And once you start something, many times, you know, it creates momentum, right? To keep going forward. So a lot of the time it's just fear. Fear holds us back so many times, you know. So it's like, feel the fear and do it anyway. When we're scared, we go into a self-protective fight or flight mode. So ask yourself, what am I protecting myself from by not taking action? And how can I help myself feel safe and get back into action? You can start over again. So if you stop doing cardio every morning and you were overwhelmed by the state of the world, I think that's very relevant for a lot of people right now. I mean, I think we've all been overwhelmed by the state of the world, you know, to some degree, right? Because none of us have ever experienced this before, you know, in our lifetime. So of course it's been overwhelming. And then you can be hungover, you know, from everything that's happened in the past year and a half. And you meant to and swore you'd stream a class tomorrow, and you didn't, and a week passed, and then why bother? It was too late, right? Well, the Capricorn full moon doesn't think so. It says forgive yourself, forgive yourself for anything that you haven't accomplished so far, because it's never too late. It's never too late. It's never too late to accomplish whatever it is, that you want to accomplish. And you can always set a new goal, always, no matter what part of the world you're in, and no matter how old you are, you can always set new goals, always. Begin again right where you left off, or go back 2 spaces on the metaphorical Monopoly board if you must, right? But yeah, there's always, you can always move forward, and you can always have goals, always. Capricorn energy is also about taking careful steps up the rocky trail. If you focus on the top of the mountain, it seems daunting. But if you just take the first step and the one after that, soon enough, you'll look up and you're halfway to the summit, right? So Capricorn is about taking those little steps, to move forward, in life. So thank you. So you can contact me for information or a coaching session at lauracoaching@gmail.com. And my website is laurarenenkowski.com. And yeah, believe in magic and activate your ambitions with this full moon in Capricorn. And I'm gonna stop sharing, and I'll stop the recording.